Hello, everybody out there in radio or internet land. This is, hey, everybody, we are back. This is the Hood Rat Strategist radio program, only on 89.1 WIDR or online at widerfm.org. Again, you can also find us on your Facebook page. We are back. We have a special guest on the show, talk about an important event coming up this weekend over in Grand Rapids. This is Allie from Justice for Black Lives, again, based out of GR. I remember you messaged, I got your message about an event coming up this weekend. And in particular, it's about there are some folks, some activists, I believe, who are facing some legal precarity because of their participation in some previous organizing. That was a really weird, broad way to describe it, I guess. But could you just tell the listeners at home, so what's going on with these folks up in GR, and kind of just some background about the situation?
On March 8th, 2021, Just for Black Lives hosted a George Floyd protest to stand in solidarity with Minneapolis and the family of George Floyd all the way in Grand Rapids. It started off as just a peaceful situation. We expected it to go very smoothly, as do any of our marches and our protests on a normal day. As we were marching the street, like we have been doing for almost the past year, GRPD had pulled up and an altercation kind of broke out when GRPD arrested 8 activists, including myself.
Oh, well. Yeah, so lead up to the situation. So before we talk about the event, I was wondering maybe I want to touch a little bit more broadly. There's solidarity protests on March 8th. Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, I think, were kind of unique, especially last year. We saw really elevated levels of police repression and activity, especially over the summer. Just out of curiosity, did you have any expectation that that would continue into what you thought would otherwise be peaceful event without really that sort of repression from the cops?
Yeah, I did, especially considering beforehand, the cops rode past we're having this event, and that was pretty much all they said before they just drove off. So I felt like if they knew about it, it wasn't going to be a big issue. I mean, they always know about our marches. I'm pretty sure they keep close tabs on Just for Black Lives Facebook page and any community organization's Facebook page.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I want to kind of broaden that question out just a little bit. Just as somebody who has lived in GR in the Southwest Michigan area, what do you think? What has been the big difference, just in your personal experience, between previous years as an organizer versus the uprisings in 2020 and basically the months since then, when we've seen a lot of not only police repression, but also a lot of activity from white supremacists. What's it been like being an organizer in GR with this kind of the cultural temperature, so to speak, is kind of turned up?
Yeah, I mean, it at times it does get a bit overwhelming, but I mean, it's something that we kind of mentally prepare for. I mean, we always expect, the worst to prepare for the worst. If better things happen, then at least we're preparing for the worst case scenario. So we always kind of predict, when, the climate increases or when the climate changes based off of particular events, given, especially the insurrection on, January 6th, just major events like that's been going on within the past year.
Yeah, and so I want to ask a little bit more specifically. So there was some arrests. So the GRPD is correct me if I'm wrong, they are pressing charges I was curious, like, so how does this tie into the event on Saturday? What are your kind of demands or your point of discussion towards the city of GR or the GRPD?
Well, we have a couple of demands. Well, first off, the event on Saturday specifically correlates into the arrest of the 8 activists. Specifically, just a demand that these charges are dropped against us. Another, not donation, excuse me. Another demand that we have is also, defunding GRPD, which is something that, every activist that was arrested that night is something that, even being in different organizations, something that we've all been demanding this entire time, since May, and even before then for some of us. And also, having that accountability, no more internal investigations. We need external investigations, because these internal investigations, nothing is being done with them because they're investigating themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Actually, I have a follow-up question to that. So, just out of curiosity, so in Kalamazoo, similar to our protests of the summer, defund the Kalamazoo public safety was a big demand. The response we essentially got from City Commission and Public Safety was kind of like, we see you, we hear you, and we're going to increase their budget a little bit this year. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was kind of curious, like, what has been the reaction from City of Grand Rapids and GRPD to the defund demands?
It's very similar to what you just said. That went on in Kalamazoo, like the whole "we see you, we hear you, but we're not actually going to do the things that you ask of us." Like, the whole, in the beginning, Chief Payne would kneel at almost every event, or like, I've heard you my whole career, like things like that. But you don't hear us because you can hear what you're saying, but you're not comprehending it. You're not putting actions behind our demands, and that's what the problem is. And and then once it was clear that we weren't going anywhere and that this is not a phase, that's when the police have begun to be more aggressive. That's when arrests were made. Even in the same night, one day when Chief Payne kneeled with us, people were arrested. Or just out of nowhere, these arrests were made, despite the fact that we have been marching in the street almost every weekend for almost a year. But out of nowhere is when, they want to finally arrest people. They arrested more people at this event than they did the riot.
Really?
Facts.
That is a startling comparison. Go ahead, Lawrence.
Well, okay, so for people who are going to listen to this, and this is not for us, as of right now, I'm gonna be preaching to the choir. But for everyone else that might hear this and they hear defund the police, can we in this discussion talk about the myriad of options that money could be going to that would help take away some of the burden of the police work, so they don't react to everything with violence? Like, yeah, right. I mean, a great way to reinforce our narrative is when you go to a rally that's about police brutality and you respond to it with police brutality. So when we say defund the police, what we're talking about, putting that money into I don't know, other response units that don't need to show up to mental health check-ins with a gun. Maybe maybe putting that money into more putting that money into more community centers or community events, so that there's more job growth opportunity in those communities. Maybe we have better training that doesn't focus on weapons training, but actually de-escalation training when you're dealing with people who are having the worst day of their life, as most officers do on a daily basis. Maybe we deal with scanning some of the police officers who are prone to being violent, who are prone to being more violent in not just their in their job, but in their daily lives. So they're just not taking it out on their citizens. Maybe we should look at some of those police officers who agree with the rioters that attacked the Capitol. There are myriad of things that we can do with the money of the budget in the city budget that would help the city instead of giving the police officers more ways to brutalize us.
Right. Exactly. And one common argument that's made is, oh, well, you don't know where all that funding is going. Like, we don't have that transparency. Of course you don't know.
Right. No,
like,
we actually do.
Transparency.
No, we actually do. A lot of that money is going to settlements that the police unions are paying to people that they brutalize. So our taxpayer money is going back to us after the officers brutalize us.
So I wanted to just kind of jump off that point, Allie. So one, especially if you had any other thoughts on that. You brought up the transparency issue, which I think is critical. But just out of curiosity, so around defund, Lawrence brought up this really good point about where that money could be used. Does JFBL? I don't know if y'all had some orgs around the country put out ideas or plans for alternative ways this funding could be used, or if just you have ideas as an individual you'd like to kind of express. Well, we got you here on the show.
So are you asking me my ideas for what to do with that funding?
Yeah. Well, just kind of two-part, if JFBL had anything specific towards what this, here are some alternative ideas to how we could use this money that we're giving to use.
Well, a couple of things. One thing is,
hello?
Are you still with us?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can now. I think you dropped out for a second there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll start over. Just basically talking about how, to make you one of the things is making the rapid free, because so many people in the city depend on the rapid, and the bus fare adds up.
I think Allie, I think your connection's cutting in and out, because we heard you talking about the bus system and then there's silence again. Ooh. Hold on just a sec.
Allie, you're breaking in and out.
Oh. Okay. Well, I guess while we're waiting for that connection to come back or reset, that's an absolutely a great example. It really is inexcusable, even if I were to compare it to the Kalamazoo situation. We've had times where the bus fare is increasing at the expense of literally the most was it browbeaten of the working class, and it's a kind of a regressive tax situation where it is the poorest people in the community who basically have to chip in the most for infrastructure, while we are giving this excessive funding to whether it's the GRPD or Kalamazoo Public Safety.
I think no, the most egregious, in my opinion, was trying to tax drinks and alcohol so that we can build a stadium downtown for no reason. That money could be going to housing or going to food banks so that they can feed more people. The social economic issues are the major factors on why people may end up running or doing crimes that may end up involving them running into the police. And also how the police deal with uh, uh, deal with accountability and transparency. This actually goes to another story that I wanted to talk about later today. Uh, about how an overwhelming majority of police settlements, not in, for example, coming out of New York City. New York City has, I think, 5% of the uh, police force in America, but they paid over 50% of they're 50% of the reason why of police settlements come out of New York, because of what the police do to their population out there. So, and also seeing where the money goes to. If you watch people like John Oliver or the Young Turks or Cop Watch and some other independent news media places, they show you that a lot of the police budgets go to margarita machines in the police stations, or they go to uh, the police department getting more armored vehicles, more military grade weaponry. They go to things that has nothing to do with actually trying to understand someone's social economic situation, or why they're or how to interact with human beings. It was just more tools of destruction, or leisurely things that they don't need. That money's being wasted. The money's being wasted when it could be put to better use to actually serve the community, since the police department serve us.
All right, that's an excellent point, Lawrence. Try one more time, real quick. Allie, can you hear us? Can you try speaking again into the phone? See if we can get this going again, or
We might have lost connection.
I think so. Well, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I'm not sure if we can get Allie back, but I do really want to thank them for taking time out of their day to come on the show and to discuss this really important event coming up in Grand Rapids. And
Do we want to stop recording, try to call them and bring them back? Do we want to try that?
let me see if maybe we can figure something out. Give me just a sec. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. There's a quick little cut there. Our guest, their line dropped. We're not really sure what happened. It's a surveillance state, Lawrence. Yeah, yeah. But I did want to make sure that we touched on what is going on this weekend, just so y'all know the details about it. So it is going to be this Saturday at 3 p.m. over in Rosa Parks Circle, and the event on Facebook is Call to Action, Drop the Charges Against the Grand Rapids 8. Again, Rosa Parks Circle, and it is going to be from around, well, it's going to start at 3 p.m. And that's up in Grand Rapids, hosted by Justice for Black Lives, Let Our Voices Echo, and Socialist Alternative Grand Rapids. And if you want to find out more about how you can help or assist, if maybe you can't make it up to the rally that day, feel free to hit up Justice for Black Lives. They've got a Facebook page. Wait a minute. Looks like.
Are they back?
I think they're back. All right. Hello. Can you
Hi.
hear me? Yeah. Hey.
No.
Sorry, but I'm not sure what happened, but.
Probably because of me. The place I'm in doesn't have the best Wi-Fi right now.
Oh.
You had to tap the, what was it, you had to tap the TV because it started to get staticky.
Yep.
Super old school.
All right. Well, now we have you back. I just wanted to make sure. If you had any closing thoughts or things you want to tell folks, and then please tell folks about the event coming up this weekend, and also maybe if they can come or they can't make it out, how they can help with this situation? Just, you know, any asks or needs that y'all have up there in GR?
Well, you know, if you guys can come down and support, that would be amazing. If you guys cannot, first of all, we do invite anyone who is able to support to come out if they can. But if you cannot come, we do have a phones app that is posted on our social media, our Twitter at JFBL.org, Facebook, Justice for Black Lives, or Instagram at JusticeForBlackLives.org, where you can participate in that. It includes a script along with all the numbers on who to contact to demand that these charges are dropped. You know, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, well, Allie, again, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come on the show. Again, folks, that's this Saturday, 3 o'clock at Rosa Parks Circle. Is that right?
Yep, Rosa Parks Circle in downtown Grand Rapids.
Okay, great. Lawrence, Allie, anything before we close out this segment?
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for taking time to out of your schedule to come on our show. And again, if you can make it out this Saturday, 3 o'clock, Rosa Parks Circle. And then there are other ways that you can help out right from the comfort of your own home. Y'all are listening to the Hood Rat Strategist radio program only on 89.1 WIDR online at widerfm.org. We also stream these shows on Facebook, and we will be chopping up the show into segments on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. You can watch it in smaller, more digestible chunks. Keep your dial locked. This is your only source for political revolution.